The weight loss industry has always been wild, but before Ozempic, before every supplement you see on Instagram today, there were genuinely some insane things that people were either prescribed by their doctor or they just walked into a store and bought off the shelf. I'm talking about drugs that were causing heart attacks, strokes, and in some cases, even death. So today, we're going through 5 of the craziest weight loss drugs from the past that no longer exist, and some of these are going to shock you. We're starting in the 1950s, and this might be one of the wildest ones on the list. This was a diet pill called Obitrol. Doctors were literally prescribing this to people for weight loss, and the reason it worked, because it contained methamphetamine. Actual meth, FDA approved. It was a combination of amphetamine salts and methamphetamine, and it was marked as a treatment for obesity. By 1970, roughly 5% of Americans, which was about 9.7 million people, were using some type of prescription medication with amphetamine, and pills like Obitrol were a big part of that. Now, obviously, it suppressed your appetite, but it also became highly addictive and came with a laundry list of serious side effects. In September 1973, the FDA pulled Obitrol from the market, citing incomplete research, and that was the end of it. Number 2, and this one is almost unbelievable, there was an appetite suppressant candy called AIDS, spelled AYDS, and it enjoyed strong sales through the 1970s and 80s. It came in flavors like chocolate, chocolate mint, butterscotch, and caramel. You were supposed to eat a piece with hot water before a meal, and it would suppress your appetite. The original active ingredient was benzocaine, which basically numbed your mouth and dulled your sense of taste so you'd eat less. Later, the formula was changed to contain PPA, which was a stimulant used to reduce appetite. And it worked well enough that it even became a hit product. It was endorsed by celebrities like Bob Hope and his wife. But then 2 things happened. First, studies began to emerge suggesting that PPA could lead to severe side effects, including heart problems and strokes. And second, the AIDS epidemic hit in the early 1980s, and suddenly a product pronounced exactly like AIDS that was associated with extreme weight loss was not a great look. By the mid-1980s, sales dropped by as much as 50%. They tried rebranding it, but that didn't work. And eventually, it disappeared entirely. One of the most unfortunate naming situations in product history. Number 3, 1990s, this one was everywhere, fen-phen, short for fenfluramine and phentermine. It was a combination of 2 drugs that were prescribed together to treat obesity, and it was massive. This one was on the cover of Time magazine, and it was everywhere. Doctors were handing it out like it was nothing. Here's how it worked. Fenfluramine worked by increasing serotonin levels in the brain, while phentermine acted as a stimulant to reduce appetite. Together, they were incredibly effective at suppressing hunger and helped people losing weight fast. The problem? Fenfluramine was shown to cause potential fatal side effects. Specifically, it was thickening and damaging people's heart valves. Approximately 30% of people who had taken the combination for up to 24 months had abnormal echocardiograms, even though they had no symptoms. The FDA requested withdrawal from the market in September 1997, and the legal damages eventually exceeded $13 billion, one of the biggest pharmaceutical disasters in US history. Number 4 is Meridia. This was approved by the FDA in November 1997 as a weight loss and maintenance medication for people who were obese or overweight. It worked as an appetite suppressant. Originally developed as an antidepressant, it had little effect on depression, but its use was associated with meaningful weight loss due to decreased appetite. Meridia was prescribed widely for over a decade, and then a major clinical trial called the SCOUT trial dropped. The data showed a 16% increase in heart attack, stroke, and death compared to those on placebo. Abbott Laboratories voluntarily pulled it from the US market in 2010. The FDA's own words were basically, the modest weight loss people were getting from this drug did not justify the cardiovascular risk. It was gone overnight. Number 5, this one hits close to home because I remember this era in the gym. Ephedra, specifically the ECA stack, ephedra, caffeine, and aspirin was everywhere in the late 90s and early 2000s. Every major supplement company had their own version of an ephedra-based fat burner. Xenadrin, Hydroxycut, Ripped Fuel, these things were everywhere. You walked into a GNC and there was a whole wall of them, and they worked. They absolutely suppressed your appetite and jacked up your metabolism, but people were dying. The one that really brought it to head was Steve Beckler. He was a 23-year-old pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles. He was taking a supplement called Xenadrin during spring training to lose weight. Well, he collapsed during a conditioning drill, and the next day he died with a body temperature of 108 degrees. On its own, ephedra had already been linked to heart attacks, strokes, and high blood pressure, and it was especially dangerous when combined with caffeine, which was exactly what the ECA stack was. By the time the FDA got involved, ephedra had already been linked to 155 deaths. The FDA banned ephedra-containing weight loss products in 2004, the first dietary supplement ever to be banned, and deaths from ephedra dropped by over 98% almost immediately after. So there you have it. The weight loss industry has come a long way, or has it?